Well, hello everybody, Mr. Mack here. Mr. Mack here tonight with another installment of Restart. Now, if you read the book or if you were with me for chapter 1, it was a intriguing, exciting, sad chapter. Our young man Chase was out on the roof of his house, fell off it, landed on the ground, was in a coma for 4 days, and when he woke up, to, of course, his doctor, his mom, his brother, he had amnesia. He could remember nothing. He could remember no one. He didn't know what happened to him. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know anything. Now, he could walk, he could talk. Physically, he was perfectly fine. Of course, he hurt all over, but physically, everything else was fine. His memory had almost like it had been erased. Couldn't remember anything. Went home, went to his room, couldn't even remember where his room was. When he got up there, he looked at the dormer window, the window that he was told he fell from or crawled out and fell from. Sat on his bed, saw a phone. It was dead. He plugged it in. When it charged up a bit and it came on, he pushed the home button, and on the screen there was a picture of him as his room was filled with pictures of him. He evidently was a big sports star. Football, whatever. MVP, whatever, most points. And on the phone there was him and 2 other friends, evidently. Halloween. In the picture he was holding a bat and there was a crushed pumpkin. And as we left that chapter, he said to himself, what kind of a person was I? He didn't know. So, chapter 2. And I won't say it, but chapter 2, Shoshanna Weber. And you can see that there is some texting going on. So I'm going to be, I'll just read through that. Shosh 466. Hey, little bro, want to smile? JW Piano Man, question mark, question mark, question mark. Shosh 466. Alpha Rat took a header off his roof and almost killed himself. JW Piano Man, by almost, you mean Shosh 466. Sorry, he's still alive, but supposedly messed up. Just got out of the hospital yesterday. JW Piano Man, any chance Beta and Gamma Rats fell with him? Shosh 466. Nope, solo performance. Don't get greedy. Smiling yet? JW Piano Man. Now who's being greedy? So that was a text between, evidently, Shoshanna and her brother. I exit messages and called Joel because I'm worried about him. I always worry about him. He's my younger brother, 14 minutes younger anyway. But if the thought of Chase Ambrose falling off his stupid roof onto his stupid head doesn't bring a smile to Joel's lips, then something is seriously wrong. Besides the unusual, I mean. Hey, he answers. Even in that single syllable, I can pick up the discouraged tone in his voice. He's angry and homesick, and who can blame him? It's not like going away to boarding school was his first choice, or even his 20th. Is Melton getting any better? I asked, almost afraid to hear the answer. That's Melton Prep and Musical Conservatory in New Brighton, Connecticut. What can I tell you? It's exile. I don't argue with him. How can I? Joel's a talented musician who belongs in a place like Melton, but that doesn't change the fact that he'd still be at home, starting 8th grade at Hiawassee, if it weren't for what happened. How are the other kids? They're okay, he replies without much enthusiasm. All losers just like me. I'm probably not going to get picked on, if that's what you mean. There's no pickers here, only pickees. That bugs me. You're not a loser. You're there because you're winners. You have talent. There's a reason why I can't live in my own town, and it has nothing to do with the piano. It's Alpha Rat, and you know it. If he fell off a skyscraper instead of his own roof, I'd be on my way home right now. Well, evidently, Chase is the reason why Joel is at this boarding school, according to what I'm reading so far. And little sis knows it too, or sis, 14 minutes younger, knows it too. There's something about Chase doesn't seem to be very good, very kind, gosh, I don't know. I have to let that pass because it's the bitter truth. Chase Ambrose and his two disgusting friends hounded my poor brother out of town. The thought of it amazes me, even though I saw it happen. I still can't figure it out. Chase isn't Darth Vader or Voldemort. He doesn't have the Force or dark magical powers. Yet he, Aaron Hakeman, and Bear Bradsky made Joel's life so miserable that my parents had no choice but to find him a school in another town. Goodness gracious, can you imagine some person bullying or people? Evidently there were three. Chase and his two friends. I'll bet you it was the two friends in the phone. Someone bullied someone so badly that they had to leave town. Goodness gracious. We tried to fight it. My dad spent so much time in the principal's office that it would have made sense for him to leave a change of clothes there. But nothing could be done about the bullying. Most of the time, there was no way to prove who was doing it. A random foot tripping Joel up in a crowded hallway, a shoulder rammed into his chest that sent him sprawling. Sorry, man, didn't see you. Dog poop pushed in through the vents of his locker, his clothes mysteriously disappearing from the changing room to be replaced by a rabbit suit. And when a science project wound up smashed or painting ruined in the art room, it was always Joel's. On the night of the talent show, when the fire alarm was pulled, it was during Joel's piano performance. It started with just Chase, Aaron, and Bear. Eventually, though, it spread. The other kids, well, they couldn't help but notice that every time someone was making a fuss or protesting, stuffed into a locker or mummified with toilet paper, it was my brother. Before you knew it, Joel was the school victim and the school joke. His life was practically unbearable. Who do you blame? The principal? Dr. Fitzwallace did what he could, but most of the time there wasn't any evidence. Sure, he could make the occasional try. There was this time Chase chucked a lacrosse stick at Joel's bike, and the butt end got jammed in the spokes. Joel went flying over the handlebars and wound up with a sprained wrist and a black eye and a nasty scrape along his jaw, stretching from chin to ear. There were plenty of witnesses to that one. Dr. Fitzwallace was all set to throw the book at Chase. A long suspension, the works. The school board overruled him. They agreed it was wrong to throw the stick, but instead that Chase couldn't have predicted it would result in a serious injury. That's just crazy. The real reason was that Chase was the town sports hero, the son of the last town sports hero. Chase's dad had a lot of admirers on that board, and my family didn't. The only time anyone was able to pin something on those three idiots, it had less to do with my poor brother than the fact that it cost the district money. At the big open house in May, Joel was invited to play piano, and he's by far the best musician around here, even if none of the other kids appreciate it. Anyway, Chase, Aaron, and Bear planted 6 cherry bombs inside the school's baby grand, timed for the middle of the performance. I can still hear Joel's screams when the big firecrackers went off, splintering the wood of the piano. I think that's part of what makes him such an irresistible target for the Chases of the world. They know they can always get a reaction out of him. And after that, Joel couldn't even walk down the hall without a bunch of football players making fun of how scared he was. We were all scared, but it's only Joel that they remembered. The irony is that The case against Chase and company had nothing to do with the attack on my brother. No, it was the damage to the piano that got the administration upset enough to bring in the police. The juvenile court judge sentenced Chase, Aaron, and Bear to community service at our town's senior citizens' home, as if the elderly deserved that. You'd think Chase would leave Joel alone after that, wouldn't you? It would have made sense, but since sense has never been an alpha rat quality. So my parents found a new place for Joel, because as long as that bully was around, my brother would never be safe. Joel's probably right. If Chase had fallen off a skyscraper instead of just the roof, he'd be able to leave Melton and come home. Sometimes I feel like I should be up there, up on that tall building, pushing Chase over the side. But that would make me no better than him. And am I better? Everybody is. Well, evidently, according to this, Chase is a real jerk. Chase is a real schmuck. Chase is a bully. Now, does Chase know that? Chase doesn't know anything about his life. Time jump. The night before the first day of school, my dad always used to take Joel and me to Heaven on Ice, which is one of the self-serve frozen yogurt places. And even though Joel and I are twins, our dessert strategies are totally opposite. I get vanilla yogurt with just a handful of chocolate sprinkles. Joel prefers a thimbleful of yogurt and 99% toppings. It's a competition to see who can hold up the most weight. I don't want to go this year. Come on, Shosh, my dad wheedles. It's a tradition. All your friends will be there. Not my best friend. And he gives me a sad smile. So you and Joel are best friends now? When he's home, you two fight like cats and dogs. He should be home now, I said. I know Dad's trying to help, but I'm determined to be miserable. You ever do that? You get upset or you get miserable, and no matter how much anybody tries to cheer you up, you won't let them. We've been over this a million times. This is the best thing for Joel. Whatever the reason he's there, he'll learn to love Melton for the music program. In the end, I'd let him talk me into going. Mom and Dad are worried enough about my brother. I don't need them stressing over me too, so we all went to get yogurt. It's weird to be at Heaven on Ice without Joel. I see Hugo and Mauricia, and the first question they ask is, how's Joel doing? The way they say it, it's like he's been shipped off to the moon, not Connecticut. How's Joel doing? I don't want to deal with the whole sob story again, so I changed the subject and I asked them about camp. They both went to sleepaway this summer. Right when Hugo was telling me about his life and death struggle with a pup tent, I spot him. The jerk. The worst person in the world. And of course we know who she's talking about. Chase. Chase has a few small cuts and bruises on his face, although nothing like what I was hoping for. His left arm is in a sling, but that's about it. He's standing in front of the row of yogurt dispensers with a timid look on his face, like he honestly can't decide what flavor he wants. Isn't that classic? The kid who feasted on Joel, chewed him up and spit him out, can't make up his mind between strawberry banana and rum raisin. Too bad they don't have poison. He must feel me glaring at him because he glances up and catches my eye. He looks right through me at first, which is insulting enough. Then he does something so horrible I can barely believe it. Even from the likes of him, he casts me a shy smile. All the anger that's been building up inside me since Joe left for Melton rises to the surface like magma. And before I have a chance to think about it, I stop myself. I stalk over to Chase. I get right in his face and I tell him, "You've got some nerve grinning at me after what you did. You stay out of my way or you'll be sorry." I take my beautiful vanilla yogurt with chocolate sprinkles, dump it over his head, and sweep out of the store. My father, in conversation with one of the other dads, and almost misses me storming past. Done so soon? He asks. But then he looks back inside and sees our family arch enemy dripping frozen yogurt and sprinkles down his face, dabbling himself with a soaked napkin in his free hand. Car's around the corner, Dad mumbles, hurrying me away from the heaven on ice. He's embarrassed, sure, but maybe also a little bit proud. Maybe. And how do I feel? I thought there was nothing Chase could do to make me madder at him than I already am. Now I stand corrected. Every time I think about it, my blood boils a little bit hotter. After all the bad history that went down between him and Joel, I swear he looked at me like he'd never seen me before in his life. Like he hadn't played a terrible starring role in destroying my family. Well, that's the end of chapter 2. Well, we know the answer to that, don't we? Chase has no idea who the family is, who she is, who Joel is. Chase doesn't know who he is. Now, she doesn't know that. Shoshanna doesn't know that. She doesn't realize that yet, that Chase had done such terrible things. You know, there's nothing worse in the world than, well, there's a lot of terrible things in the world. But one of the worst things is a bully, someone who makes someone else's life terrible, makes them afraid to go out of their front door. And Chase evidently was one of these people. So I can't wait to get into chapter 3 to find out. I hope we're back to Chase, because I want to find out his reaction or what happened. We know probably that at some point he's in his hometown. He's going to find out the kind of a person he is. He already has an inkling. His dad's a bit of a jerk. He sees pictures of all these sports. He saw the picture on the phone with him with a baseball bat and a smashed pumpkin. Some girl that he now doesn't know yelled at him and threw a yogurt cone with sprinkles on top of his head. So something's up. Anyway, join me next time. I hope you enjoyed this second chapter. Come back and we'll do more. Take care. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay healthy.